football for the most part, and we're going to move on to basketball now. Always a great sport to talk about here, and especially in the spring. I mean, it's not too far away in the grand scheme of things, right?
Totally.
Yeah, I know, right?
Totally.
It's just coming up around the corner. But Coach Pietri is here, and we had all three of us really, we had the privilege of announcing play-by-play for Lady Jags this season, and what an honor it was. It was really, really a great privilege to do that. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah, getting to see their ups and downs, but mostly ups this season.
Ups, yeah.
You know, just seeing them evolve as a team and coming to their own. So it was very fun, to watch.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Braden, take it away, Coach Pietri.
All right. I'm here with the head coach, Coach Pietri. Coach Pietri, talk about first the season, just overall in general, and what you think your team got most out of it.
Well, you know, it was a good year. Whenever you don't win a title, you always want and yearn for more. But it was a good year. We had some really nice non-conference wins. Really, honestly, the most memorable game of our year was probably the first game we played against Central Florida out of Conference USA. Our opening night, went triple overtime. Camille Reynolds hits a three-point shot at the buzzer of regulation to send it into one of the overtimes. And it's a game we did end up winning in three overtimes. And it's not often, it's only the second I've been in the coaching profession. This was my 25th season. It's only the second triple overtime game I've ever been a part of. So it was a great game. It was a great way to start the year for us. We also had a huge win against Utah. It's a Pac-12 opponent, BCS opponent. We were able to beat them in a tournament in San Antonio over the Thanksgiving holidays. And so that was a great non-conference win for us to get. Anytime you can beat a BCS opponent in any sport, really, when you're in a conference outside the BCS, that's a big deal. And so that was a great win for us. We got into league play and went 9-7 in the league. Had some close calls at the ends of games that didn't go our way, but we did have some good wins. Probably the most noteworthy was beating Western Kentucky at Western Kentucky. It was the first time in the history of our program that we've beaten Western Kentucky in their building, playing them. And so that was very memorable for us. Particularly our senior class, particularly at Western Kentucky, at the conclusion of the games that they win, they release confetti. And so from the rafters, and so it falls on the floor, and so our seniors were excited to not have to see the confetti fall for the fourth time. But so winning that game, and we won it, it was a very competitive game. We were down at halftime, came from behind, and held on to win it late. So that was a huge win for us. And lastly, we were able to win an opening game in the conference tournament for the 7th consecutive year. And that's a big deal. It means that every time we go into conference play, again, for 7 consecutive years, we've won our opening game. Obviously, we ran into Arkansas Little Rock, lost a very close competitive game. They go on to win the conference tournament and go to the NCAA tournament. So we were right there. We were very close to being a postseason team. Didn't happen for us, but we were very close. And so, looking forward to next year, our goal and our chore is to try to take that next extra step to put us in position where we're in postseason play. And that's the next step we're trying to get to.
Your off-season workouts, what are they like over here so that we can get to that next extra step and get to the postseason play?
In the off-season, we do a couple of things. The NCAA regulates that we can work our student-athletes 8 hours a week in the off-season. We spend 2 of those hours in the gym with the coaching staff with a basketball, where we work on continuing to develop their skills. The most important thing to work on as a basketball player when you're not in a competitive season is developing your offensive skills. In a team setting, you can work on defensive aspects, but when you're talking about individual work in the spring and really the summer, the most important thing is to continue to develop an offensive skill and to develop a part of your game as an individual player that might be a shortcoming for you. So, for those that needed to work more on perimeter shooting, we did that. For those that needed to work more on offensive moves to create space and get a shot off, we worked on that. For our post players, we worked on being able to try to finish plays at the goal. So those are the things from a basketball standpoint. We're also working on strength and conditioning in the spring. And John Herschel is our strength coach. Coach Schwind, obviously, he designates, being that he's in charge of strength and conditioning, and he designated Coach Herschel, and Coach Herschel does a fine job strengthening our kids. We work out over in the football field house and utilize all the assets that we have in that facility. And so I think our kids got stronger in the springtime. I think they developed more of their skills. We're now shut down, if you will. We have to shut down a week before exams start. Exams, of course, start a week from today. So our kids now, they're on their own until they come back for summer school and they're able to work with Coach Herschel again in the summertime. We are not able to work with them on the court in women's basketball. Men's basketball this summer will be able to work with their players, but women's basketball will not be allowed to work with their players as we have not ever been allowed to do. And hopefully that's a rule that will change for next year.
Just talk about the seniors real quick. Sardi Peterson, C.C. Cannon, Lauren Walker, and I'm forgetting one right here, Taylor Ammons.
Yeah.
Just talk about their playing and what they meant to the program, how are you going to try to replace them?
Well, Sardi ended her career here as the all-time leader in the number of three-pointers made. So in 4 years, she's at the top of the record book, if you will, in terms of the number of three-pointers made. So clearly we're going to be missing a perimeter threat with Sardi. And Sardi was a very good off-ball defender, too. She understood our defensive system, and that was very important. When you lose experience, that's lost. That's something that has to be acquired by newcomers. So we'll miss her in that aspect. Lauren Walker, her specialty was perimeter shooting. Statistically had a better year as a junior than she did as a senior, but defensively, in her 4th year in our program, she was at her best this year defensively. So again, that experience we'll miss from her. C.C. Kennan, another 4-year player, was a great defensive player for us in the post. Understood one-on-one post defense, also understood help defense, also understood recoveries and our rotations defensively, and was a solid contributor offensively. And finally, Taylor Ammons. Taylor finished, I believe it was in the top 50 in the nation in rebounding. She was 2nd in the Sun Belt Conference in rebounding, was a great rebounder. Arguably, you could say the best rebounder we've had since I've been here. And so we will miss her defensive presence. Taylor also took a bushel of charges. It was uncanny how often she was able to put herself in position to draw charges, which are huge, turnover plays in the sport of basketball. So we will miss her defensive presence in a large way.
Just real quick, got a couple minutes left. Just touch on recruiting and a couple players that could come into the program and possibly play a lot next year. We know we play a lot of players every single game, but just talk about a couple players that come in and you expect to play some.
Well, very quickly, in the early signing period, we signed 2 young ladies, one out of Germantown, Maryland, Taylor Jenkins, who's a long, thin, athletic young lady who's got skill to score on the basket. Then we signed almost a polar opposite of her physically. We signed Brianna Wright, she's a well put together, big physical specimen who can also shoot the ball. And so we expect both of those young ladies to contribute immediately. On the perimeter, we signed Megan Dunn, who's the Alabama JUCO Player of the Year here in the spring signing period, who can score the basketball off the dribble, from beyond the arc, and getting to the goal, and a solid defender. She was 2nd team All-State at Hoover High School when she graduated from high school on a state championship team. We also have signed a couple of other guards, Sharon Sanders from Vestavia Hills, very athletic, nice pull-up game offensively, and a tough defender. And then we signed 2 point guards, one out of Houston, Dominisha Sophus, who averaged 30 points a game in high school her senior year and is a very skilled scorer and creator. And finally, Brittany Webb, who signed early with Indiana. Coach was fired. She was released from her NLI after meeting with the new coach. And we had recruited her before she signed with Indiana, so she is going to join us. And she's a very skilled offensive player. Short, but a lot of spunk, a lot of toughness, deep shooting range. And so we feel like we've added some pieces that can help us next year.
All right, Coach, thank you for joining us. And I'm going to throw it back up to Michael real quick.
Yeah, awesome.